Hello, hello, everyone.
Good morning,
Good morning. Happy
good
Sunday.
afternoon, or good evening,
Yeah, I guess
whatever
it
you are.
matters where you're signing in from, that's for sure. For those that have never heard us before, we're Anita and Dario. This is the Anita and Dario show. As mentioned before, we are doing this as a live for now, but we're actually going to be in Canada and the US next year. So listen on in, and we'd love to know what kind of topics you're interested in. Most things are about the Mediterranean lifestyle and
Yeah.
how to live the Mediterranean lifestyle, but we're going to get into travel and food because I was a travel agent and travel was a big thing. Well, for both of us, but I was more of a business.
I was more of a cook.
And then we've got the chef. So most of the food is with Dario. So glad you're joining us today. If you have any comments that you want to say and how you're doing this morning, I'm just going to do a quick check to make sure that,
Yeah,
we're live. This is good.
perfect.
Oh, no, this is the one from before.
Yeah, well, we're on it.
I hope we're on live because I don't see it now. So you continue talking, Dario, while I look and see and make sure.
Well, the purpose of the show is actually to kind of discuss or have conversation in regarding of what is the Mediterranean lifestyle, what are we all about, and some of the important topics that we might have every single week that actually brings us into we call it the Mediterranean lifestyle movement because it's not a it's just a way of living. Okay, so one of the topics we like to talk this week is improve social connection, which is such an important thing because we don't realize the importance of connection to anyone. I mean, we sometimes we found ourselves that we are so busy and we forget to connect with people, to connect with even just with ourselves or to a group of people that are very very important to us. So this is pretty much a discussion of a conversation of what we think and of some of our personal experience because when we talk about Mediterranean lifestyle, when we're talking about things is actually things that we experience ourselves. I mean, it's not things that we just kind of invent and we throw it out there. It's they personally touch ourselves, emotionally, personally, anything, and we want to share it. And maybe you can share with us some of your personal experience of what is important and what are the social connection topics that you would like to discuss with. We have a few of them, right?
Well, connection we want to talk about today and the importance of connection. And that is for so many reasons. It's for your mental health, your mental being,
Right.
your social being, your happiness, your longevity. I mean, it's proven, studies have proven that being connected with others is so important. And so there's a couple topics. We could talk about this for days
Right.
because it's actually the reason why our business got together. And it's one of the principles in the Mediterranean lifestyle we talk about. And I always find, this is my line for the year, you're going to hear me say it a million times. It's only knowledge until you feel it in your bones. And it really stands for this as well, because everyone, even since COVID, has talked about, oh, we have to connect all together this. And it was actually 2019. We talked and we did a show in the US, a talk show, and we talked about alone together.
Right.
And how important it is to get rid of this. And we talked about our dinner club and how important it was to get friends together and cook and meet together and the rest of it, which we still have our international dinner club. But what was important was that you can still be together,
Right.
but not really be together. And how important it is to put down those phones. Unfortunately, I'm looking at the phone to see who's on here. Hey, we got Susan on. We got Christine. It's nice to see you guys. So the importance of really connecting together, because how many times do you come home when you're so busy and you're in your head and you don't take those 2 minutes to speak to those that you love, those people that are in the household? And you're like, oh, I got to numb my day. I got to get on the TV. I got to watch it. I've got to numb myself to what we're doing, as opposed to taking that time to be together. And so when we did the show that time, we talked about alone together and how important it was, because so many people do that nowadays, and the importance of connecting. So I love saying this line. This is my line for the year. You're going to get so tired of hearing me say it, that It's only knowledge until you feel it in your bones. It's like tramp. I'm going to bring up tramp, and I hope I'm not going to cry. But, I've never had a dog before.
Yeah.
And the feelings and the emotions that he's given us, you don't know until you feel it in your bones, and now with him not being here and how hard it is. And those kind of connections, even with animals, they're so important. And it is the reason why our business came together.
Mm-hmm.
And with Dario and I, for those that know us, we were not in very good marriages. And
that's an understatement.
We had learned how to become disconnected to many things so that you can survive it. And that's what you do, right? But then we ended up getting together and realizing that there was something there that was special. And we actually had this moment where we sat on the couch and we looked at each other because we had built such a wall.
Protection wall.
A protection wall from getting hurt or anything that can happen because we had been through it before.
Mm-hmm.
That we actually sat there in that moment and said, you know what? For us to really get the most out of this relationship, we have to trust, we have to be vulnerable, and we have to allow ourselves to feel and not be always worried and let that wall be gone.
That's right.
And that moment was like a switch for us, wasn't it, sweetheart? Like it was like a switch.
Very much.
And that is a huge thing to carry in every part of your life. Because in every situation, whether it be a pet, whether it be a loved one, whether it be a friend,
your children, and anything really, you're right. I mean, it's such of an emotional moment. Then, and when you say you make it, you break it. It is. It's that moment. Then you really make that decision. You say, okay, you know what? Do I believe it? And your core value needs to be there. And it doesn't matter how many times you get hurt. They say it's how many times you get up. Okay, and that is the strength of.
So that's the deepness of connection, and why people talk about let's connect, let's get together. And the deepness of connection, what has affected us over the years, is a lot of people aren't allowing themselves. They might not feel that being with a certain group, or they don't want to allow themselves being seen. It can go on forever. I talk about this in my
Podcast.
Well, I talk about my podcast, but also in my group coaching that I do. It gets very, very deep on allowing yourself and getting out there. A lot of people, they're fearful. I think COVID has done a real job on everything that's been happening out there. So it's really, really important. So that gets kind of the inner circle of what it is, and that people talk about it. They have the knowledge that connection is important. They have the knowledge about that. But until you feel it in your bones and really get out there to make a change for your longevity, for your health, for your, everything, well-being, mental health, like all of it, it's finding those right people. We call it find your flock.
That's right.
Because a lot of people that end up coming on our retreats and everything, they are usually empty nesters. Not always. Some of them, but so we call it finding your flock, finding those people that you really resonate with and you have fun with. And that's all it's about, is enjoyment. I talk about it time and time again, and I think I mentioned it actually in the post about how in Italy we get together with 30 people of friends that get together on a weeknight. The last thing they think about is work. Yeah, they don't think about work.
I think it's just a concept, and brings us back to our retreat when we were talking about it. You can understand that retreats. We take a group of people, couple mostly, but not necessarily, to this adventure, and we call it an Italian adventure or a Mediterranean adventure. You're living like an Italian for a week, for 10 days, and it's not at the back of the rocks. And the most amazing thing is when you bring them all together and they don't know each other, and the impact then happen after that week. They become real friends. They become a part of a group. Most of those people then we took with us to Tuscany. Now they're all almost as a block coming with us to Amalfi, and they want to make sure. Oh, is Dennis coming? Oh, is Dave coming? They want to make sure, and they don't know each other. Understanding These people did not know each other, but what they allow themselves is to open themselves to connection, open themselves to adventure, open themselves to a group of people, then potentially they are part of their network. And it's
It's a
fun.
lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. And you create, it becomes contagious, I say. And that is the most important thing about a social connection. You want it to become contagious. Contagious, then you feel different and you can share it to other people. And it can be done many ways. I mean, you have done it multiple times in your a ladies or a mix group of golf week, and all get down together, go play golf. It's 2-3 times a week, and then potentially you do a walk and talk. I mean, you start the walk and talk, and with a group of ladies.
I think it was 2013.
So imagine that.
Yeah.
So and it's that time. So what do you do with a walk and talk? You talk, you stay active, you breathe fresh air, you connect, you share idea, you feel so energized, and then you can start your day. And walk and talk can be done from 7 to 8. Okay, can be done anytime you want. Can be done after work. But what Anita was saying at the beginning, how we are mechanically programmed, that we come home and we are exhausted. Think about a runner. When a runner runs a 10K run, okay, after the run doesn't just stop. It has to decompress. You have to kind of a cool down, it's called. Same thing with your life. You have a busy day and you have time to cool down. And cool down doesn't mean plunking yourself in front of a tube or in front of this thing. Then it just destroy your brain in many, many ways. It's potentially a walk and talk. I mean, myself and Anita for many, many, many times, even in the winter, -10, after dinner, 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night, whatever it is, maybe not so late, but we go for a walk. And our walk is what? Is decompresses, the cool down about your day. Good, bad, ugly, wonderful, whatever it is. That is connection. And connection can be done in many, many ways. I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about the meetup group of people that you were organizing.
Yeah. Well, I still wanted to get back to kind of connection was
Right.
the reason that we got together. And it brings up 2 points, actually. One was, Dario and I, the time we met, we were very busy in our businesses, and Dario was doing events. I was speaking in India. I was in India that year. I was in Europe, speaking events. And we found that here we got together and we had done everything together, but we were all of a sudden busy doing our own things.
Right.
And we were like, no, this can't happen again. We need to really cherish this relationship. We need to make sure that we speak openly with each other, that we make sure we make that effort to be there for each other. Mm-hmm. Hence, like my little note I get every morning, which I really appreciate, sweetheart. So, we didn't know how to do it and how to put that together. And, we knew that when Dario we knew each other for years, but when he actually came over one time and we were cooking together in the kitchen,
right.
I really enjoyed it. A lot of people get intimidated by you with cooking in the kitchen. They're like, oh no, I can't. And I mean, I've cooked for the kids all my life. I've always kind of cooked to a little bit of a healthier thing, not maybe as much flavor. But when Dario made me that risotto that time, I almost died. It was like this flavor explosion in my mouth, and it was like, wow. And so we had that together. We loved to cook together, hence the cook together and eat together that we talk about.
Yep.
But we were like, okay, we're still doing these events outside. How do we do it? So Dario was invited as a guest chef in a castle in Italy. And we're sitting at this table with all these people, these couples that were together, high-end entrepreneurs, business people. And they were interested in what I did, working with entrepreneurs and executives to work-life balance. They were all really super stressed. They wanted to, and we're like, wow, we can do something together. So I think the next day we were driving to France. I remember writing my blog on my lap and my computer as we're driving through the mountains in France. And where were we off to?
We were in the Alps. We were just getting. We were going.
Périgord?
We went to Périgord.
Yeah.
But it was a long drive, and you figured in that drive from Alba in the north part of Piemonte and the Langhe to Perigord, that's all we were talking about. It was this, you call it aha moment. It was like this,
Yeah.
whoa, there is something here that we haven't seen. Then is very, very important, and that really what started.
So we came up with the idea, and that's how the business became. And it was for the reason of wanting to connect.
Right.
We felt the importance and how important it was to connect, and that's sort of like the hub of everything we do. Why we do our retreats,
Right.
why we do our team building, and why this episode is to come up with ideas and tips on how you can connect better,
right.
and the importance of doing that. So Dario talked about, the walk and talk, how important that is to get out. So not only are you being active, which is one of the principles of the Mediterranean lifestyle, but also being together and talking and having that connection with people. I mean, how many times do you get together or you go to an event that you weren't going to go to because you're like, I only feel like it. And then you get there, and how much fun that was to connect with people again, and how much you've enjoyed it. So bringing that back is so important, and being able to do that. Cooking together. I don't know how many people come to me and say, no, I don't want to cook. I want to hire somebody. When I have money, I'm going to hire someone to cook for me. And I'm like, why? It's that half an hour or an hour a day that you can spend together, that you can make good food, not order in something. It's going to be good, healthy food. It's something that is a life skill that people are forgetting to do. They're making, they just want everything so simple, and it's a life skill that you're willing to do, and how important that is. And also these meetups I absolutely love. I don't know if anyone's ever done it before, but you can pick an interest that you have. I know I started one years ago when I had my travel agency, and it was called the York Region Adventure Travel. And we got together and we would pick a restaurant, so a Greek restaurant, and we do like a Greek theme. I do a French restaurant, a French theme, a Mexican theme, and whoever wanted to come could come and join. And it was such a great thing. And they have them for everything. So if you're interested in photography, into dance, if you want to play euchre or bridge, it starts these groups together, because if you don't know somebody,
you become isolated.
You can find people on this meetup, right? Like you go on to Meetup, you put in your information, what you're interested in. I was looking up in Barrie the communities that they have, the community centers. I'm sure in your town you would have something that's a community center. Social media, though we're not that crazy about, there is a small place for it. We could not connect with people like we do now.
Right.
Do it in the right way. Right. Find people in your community and get out there. If you think about the Blue Zone, the Netflix Blue Zone that's on right now, it's very similar to what we talk about. Our viewpoint is me, a North American, going to Italy and the Mediterranean and going, wow, everyone is so relaxed. They enjoy life. They don't think about work 24/7. I'm going to say this wrong, but they work to live, not live to work, right?
That's right.
And that's what they do. They go for their happy hours.
Right. It's
after work, they get together and then they go for dinner. They're not gone for hours until midnight. They go for an hour with their friends and coworkers.
It's again, we call it the cool down. We live in this fast-paced life. I said it often. It's almost like driving this car 120 kilometers an hour in this beautiful scenic route, but we don't see anything because we are chasing for the final destination without looking left and right, the beauty. So I think what Anita's trying to say is allowing yourself, and I mean, we're not talking you have to do by yourself. You can do it with your husband, with your wife, with a group of friends, whomever you want to be. But this is it's a connection part. I mean, our retreat, that's what it is. For example, I'll give you an example. One of the lady who came to a retreat, her husband couldn't come, so she came with her best friend. So they came together. So now they want to come with their husband, and they said, you know what, we got to do this thing together because it's an experience. You're going to meet this, you're going to meet that, you're going to meet that. And now we are going in next month in the US, and we're going to meet some of them. It becomes this group, this like-minded people like yourself, and I look back at my grandmother, she's she's passed now for many, many years. But she had that group many, many, many years ago. I'm talking 70s, 80s. And the group was of this spiritual group. Then they would go once a year or twice a year to the spiritual destination, Fatima in Portugal, Lourdes in France, religious type of, but they had a bus, they get together, they had a community.
Is it through the church? The church?
The church,
Yeah.
through the church,
Okay.
and they would meet with this group of ladies, and they would go church, and the church was organized. So we'd say, oh, we go to the 6 o'clock mass, or we go on Saturday night, or we go to the 10 o'clock mass, and then they will get together after, and maybe they will have a coffee, and maybe they will go shopping together or whatever. But it was the community that it was built already right then, and because there was no distraction. That this thing was not there. My grandmother, so she didn't like to talk on the phone to me. But it was so empowering, right?
But even still now, like you'll see some of the men getting together and they're playing cards, or they're playing bocce, or even when we went to Spain, I mean, the people that are connected and they get together and they'll have their tapas after work and enjoying things. So the reason for today was to talk about connection. And like I said, we can talk about connection forever, but we want to keep this to 20, 30 minutes every day, every week. And we're getting close to that.
Yeah, look at that.
Hey, there we go. So love to hear your thoughts in where you are and how you're connecting with others. The movement of the Mediterranean lifestyle, one of the main things that you mentioned is connection. And how are you doing that where you live? How are you making that difference and really reaching out? It's that alone together, coming home, or, making, the thought of being there, but not really connecting and getting together. I know there's lots of things that we're doing next year. We're going to be doing some events. We've got our International Dinner Club, the events that you're going to be able to do live that we're going to be launching. There's going to be so many different things. There's going to be things in my business with a group coaching for entrepreneurs and executives that are bringing people together, how important that is to be accountable. But really, today we're talking about how and what can you do to change that? And how do you find new communities and those people that really touch your heart and that you enjoy being with? Even if it's those 5 people, and just putting a list down, who are you going to call? What are you going to do that's a little bit different that you're going to connect with people?
And you made just like you were just saying something, and just call. How many times we forget about things? Just whenever you think, I mean, you're very good at it. Anita would just, if she thinks about,
do the same
she
thing.
thinks about someone and she hasn't talked in a while, picks up the phone. Hey, let's meet up. Let's have a coffee. Let's get together. Let's do things. And when you get together, it counts. Because this is the other thing. You want to make sure that your things, you want to make them count. You don't want to be there and just kind of be there on the phone and all that. And I found it, even with our kids. I mean, the connection with our kids. Our kids are getting older now, and they're getting busier. And we found that, for example, even at Christmas time, we're getting close to Christmas, but you're talking about kids. Then they have now their other side of the family, the girlfriends, the boyfriends, and all that stuff. So
dynamics change.
The dynamic is changing, and the most important thing is don't ever make them feel guilty about whatever, because their life is important also.
Yeah.
But make it count when you're together. We love them to death. I mean, our best time is when we're all here together on the table and we laugh and joke and kind of tease each other and all that. But we also want to promote. I always say promote the grassroots, promote the younger generation to think like that. To think that it's important to connect with everybody else. So make it count, cool down, and really try to found whomever are the people for you. They don't have to be many. They could be 10, they could be 20, they could be 2, they could be 5, it could be anyone. Then it will give you the boost of energy, and it will kind of deviates to your daily routines, I call it, because we seem to be stuck sometimes to daily routines, right? Oh, we gotta come home. Oh my God, we gotta cook. Oh my God, we gotta do homework. Oh my God. Yeah, well, it's switch it. Make something different. Cook with your kids. Do something fun with your kids. Kids love to play with things. Kids love to be part of things. Allow them and create more of a conversation more than a communication. And when I'm talking about communication, is allow the communication come to you. You're creating the communication. That's a big difference because we allow communication to come to us through TV, through the news, through all that stuff. They tell us whatever they want instead of us creating our own communication. That's what will create connection.
Yeah, speaking with each other again, talking and
That's right.
getting out there is so important. So thank you all to watching us live. I can see the group here, so I really appreciate you coming on. If you want to share something in Facebook or in YouTube, exactly any kind of details on how you've connected with others, what you feel is important, we'd love to hear from you. Again, creating something, a group, or joining meetup or something like that, cooking together, taking that time, blocking off time to spend with those you love and those you care about, pick up the phone. Those things are so important. It's only knowledge until it gets into your bones. And I really believe that. And that's my line for this year. Who knows when that changes, but
kind of like
we don't know. And, with our, loss as the kids have gone on and moved out of the house and our loss with Tramp and stuff, you realize that it's important to have that. It's important that those things are in your life and those connections. So go out and touch somebody. What was the Bell line? Reach out and touch someone. I think it was for Bell. Reach out and touch someone and come join us on all our adventures that we're going to have for next year. And I'm so happy to see you here.
See you next week.
One thing, there's some people that have been getting emails from us for repeats or replays. So if you're on there, double check your spam because it's been going into trash and spam.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are not able to make it live. They want to see the replay, and we love to see you there as well.
And give us idea if there is something that you really love to talk about it and to discuss. This is an open podium here. We can discuss it and talk about it.
Anyway, wonderful chatting with everyone. Have a wonderful Sunday. Bye, everyone.
Bye.